of it then, because we haven't got a copy, and then when we get to see a copy, you'll understand that we can't discuss it.
Members, this was discussed at Council. We are addressing it tonight under the Green Infrastructure Strategy. Have you got a copy?
Happened at H&E, we was all given a copy. Someone went off and got a copy, and then they realised that you cannot discuss it.
I've got a copy of the motion here. I can read it out, or we can get copies made, whichever's easiest.
Read it out.
I'll read it out. Full council held on the 21st of March 2013. Parks, playing fields and open spaces. Council requests that Cabinet to ensure that our long-established parks, for example, Stratton Park, Chinham Park, Russell Howard Park, and the War Memorial Park, be protected from development. Our open spaces and playing fields such as Downgrange, where the community as a whole clearly support the continued use as playing fields, be protected from proposed development in the local plan, referred to P&I for discussion. That was the motion that was, I think, agreed at Council.
And what was said at H&E is that you couldn't determine that without criteria and a report, and the mover of the motion, Councillor Keating, who was at H&E at the time, talking to that motion, said that it needed a report from officers to determine what criteria would be used, and they were going to go away and do a piece of work, and the report may come back here to P&I. They didn't know which committee it would be up to the office to determine where that report came, but we can't discuss it without actually looking at the criteria and the financial implications. And we need a report to support that. And as members haven't even got a copy of the motion, how can we possibly discuss that?
The point of bringing it to P&I looks at planning and infrastructure, and it's based on various policies. Now, the intent was this evening that when we get to the Green Infrastructure Strategy, policies are connected to a Green Infrastructure Strategy. Open spaces, by definition, are green areas, and they're connected in, albeit loosely, to the Green Infrastructure Strategy. Mr. Lambert was going to explain, when we get to the Green Infrastructure Strategy, how the existing policies for open spaces reflect to the whole of the borough to protect our open spaces. I'm not going into debate now, Mrs. But that is the way we're playing it tonight. There is nothing to see because we have existing policies on this particular topic.
So at H&E, it was agreed by the officer that a report would come back on the 12th of June in relation to this under criteria.
No, I'm sorry. I can't recall this. Councillor Mrs. James, we're expecting the portfolio.
Are you saying you don't recall that?
No, I don't recall that. And there are other members of the committee here tonight that were the same thing. We haven't got the minutes of the meeting.
We have officers who sat here at that meeting from the open space.
Hello, Chair. We discussed what might need to be done in terms of establishing, what work would, the scope of work to get to some policy on this. But everyone else, or others have said, I can't recall us finally deciding that that's how it would pan out, or that's the process of it.
I will rule tonight that we will cover this subject under the Green Infrastructure Strategy. Mr. Lambert is prepared to make a statement relating the policies, existing policies that we have in the borough about open spaces. We're all very aware of the concerns that were raised under that particular topic. I'm as sensitive as anybody else to that. We will then, Councillor Mr. James, no, I acknowledge that you've put your hand up. Let me finish. The how we address it after that, we will take advice from officers how they want to see it played. But it was an explanation to this Planning and Infrastructure Committee about how our existing policies still exist. I will go into other explanations of what was raised at both in council and at H&E a little bit later. But I want to get on with this agenda at the moment, and I'm not going to be distracted. That's the end of it at the moment, Councillor James.
Can I have a copy of the motion, because I don't have that copy, and so I'd like to have that copy as we did other papers now, please.
You will get a copy of that. I'm going to move on the agenda item